So I'm going to try to keep this video short and go over the basics of Revit, really the basics. But essentially, Revit is a database that is tied to a three-dimensional space. So Revit starts off blank. There's nothing in it. The way that Revit works is that you need to tell it what you want to use, like essentially like going to the store, and you have to load in what's called a family or a part or a component, as you can think about it. So if you go into Insert, Load Family, you can load a bunch of different things. There's different categories, predefined categories that Revit has made so that you can build a building. So the first thing you always have to do is have your structure. So that's the first thing we always model, is get our structural floors in. So another thing that you just saw is a work plane. You got to have a work plane set in Revit, just like your levels. So when you're building, you have to make sure that all of your levels are set and put out before you build anything. So I'm going to put a floor in. Okay, draw a floor. There it is. All right. And now in 3D, we've got a floor. These are the attributes I was talking about, that we have a 12-inch floor. And so these parameters are something that Revit has to link to this three-dimensional rectangle. Okay, so from here, you can draw maybe some walls. So we can do structural walls. We can do architectural walls, whatever. Okay, and you can see here I didn't set my work plane correctly. It's at the bottom. So I'm actually going to change that. Base offset to 0 and go up to the roof. There we go. Now we got a little building here. Okay, and kind of the power of Revit is that it has this logic that it understands things can be connected. There's some pick points. Okay, you can just pull and drag these things. You can see that your walls kind of extend as needed to stay connected. You can pull these down and up. And then moving on into, once you get it modeled, so imagine you've got your building modeled, you've got piping services, ducting services. I'll draw a piece of pipe here. I'll draw some duct going across this other way. And then I'll draw some square duct as well, going across kind of in a diagonal. Okay. Now in 3D, it helps that you can see all this so that you can adjust all of your clashes. So you can do this directly in Revit. Revit has its own three-dimensional clash detection software that you can use I think it's in Manage. Then when you want to create a sheet, the way that Revit creates sheets when you are ready to is just taking a slice of this 3D model. So if you go into your, let's just do a mechanical sheet. I'm going to go ahead and create a generic plumbing view here. And here I've got a coordination view. I don't have any grid lines. Let me go ahead and put those in. We'll just call this grid line 1. That's fine. Okay, so obviously this is not how, this is a very basic introduction. But here we go. We got some grid lines, we got some walls, we got pipe, duct, and now we want to put it on a sheet. And I got Revit here. I'm just going to grab that floor plan and place it on the sheet. And you can see that it's just a 2D representation of what we have in 3D. So if I go into 3D and I tile my windows and say I dimension this out, and I've got some information here. I've tagged it. Let's tag something. Okay, I got to load the tags for the information on the duct, pipe, or floors as well. So 1 second. Okay, so I've loaded in the tag, and now Revit understands that it's reading the information from this duct. If I go on the properties of the duct, there's a system type here. It's reading that information, supply air. If I change that to return air, it'll automatically change. See that? And then it's also, I've got some dimensions. Say I'm in 3D and I say, ooh, I need to actually move that duct. I'm in 3D coordinating and I move it over. You can see that it automatically updates my sheet view as well. Keeps the tag tagged and updates the dimension. So that's kind of the power of Revit that allows you to be a little bit more nimble with your coordination drawings. You can annotate, push the drawings out there. A change is made in the field. You can make that change, and then everything should automatically update in your annotations. So that's a little bit about Revit, what it can do. Didn't really get into what it can't do, but it's not magic. If you just think about it, it is a three-dimensional database that maintains the relationships of objects between each other, okay? And then also allows you to create slices of that three-dimensional space to create two-dimensional drawings. So that is essentially what's happening here. We're just looking down, and I'll wrap this up with this view range. So essentially what we're looking at is a view depth at 0, cutting at 4 feet above this level, and then having a view extent all the way up to the roof. So if I change this down to 5 feet, you'll see some things disappear because the top of my view has been cut off. If I go back to the roof, it'll reappear. So you can kind of think of it like a box around a three-dimensional space that shows you that area. And that's a little bit about Revit. Thanks.